items. We have an AP manifest for April 30th, 2024 in the amount of $1,651,210.42. And for May 7th, 2024 in the amount of $60,972.23. And for May 14th, 2024 in the amount of $74,876.97. We have a payroll manifest for May 2nd, 2024 in the amount of $65,716.22. For May 9th, 2024 in the amount of $58,668.11. And for May 16th, 2024 in the amount of $59,476.42. Communications, we have tax map lot 2, map 2, lot 8, report of wood and timber cut. Tax collector reconciliation, April 2024. Town clerk reconciliation, April 2024. Letter of support for House Bill 1114 to Senate Committee on April 29th. Tax collector's warrant, $12,552,341.50 due by July 1st, 2024. Is there anything anybody would like to remove or discuss? Have any questions on?
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent as read.
Motion for Mr. Brunel,
I'll second.
second for Ms. Queenan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And motion carries 4-0-0. Thank you. All right. Before we do the public hearing, we have one item that we wanted to address, is we have the captain of the fire department here tonight on the proposed firefighter wages. So, restructuring grades 18 through 22, which used to run 17 through 20, adding 2 grades for a master firefighter and paramedic and a lieutenant full-time position. We have not hired anybody yet, but these are just paperwork shufflers to keep the department moving forward. They were left out of the previous salary structure work that was done last year and approved by this board. So, does anybody have anything they would like to ask or question? We have members of the public, they may feel free also.
Was that a motion?
Then we'll take a motion after people talk. All right, hearing no discussion, we'll entertain a motion for acceptance.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 2023 amended proposed firefighter wages as outlined by the chair.
We have a motion for Mr. Brunel?
I will second that.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
I think it's long overdue. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0. Okay. Now, we can do a public hearing on the Litchfield, Town of Litchfield fee changes.
You have a sheet that'll help you.
This one?
Should we use something, that right there?
All right. Tonight, we are conducting a public hearing on the establishment and amendment of town fees. The town administrator will give the report and answer any questions from the Board of Selectmen. Public testimony. Is there anyone that wants to address this in the public? We have a lot of public here. Anyone wish to speak in favor or opposed? No. Provide neutral testimony? No. Staff comments. We only have one staff member here. No. Questions of clarification. Did anybody have any questions on this, Kim? No?
I did not.
No?
No, we
Okay.
were waiting to, just about fees on commercial building, right? And maybe non-commercial.
Yeah, did we get those?
Did you have any feedback?
The
Could remember that.
Everything else
fees that
looked
were
good.
published include them all
Okay.
changes.
Mhm.
There was an adjustment from the initial proposed to
Yep.
the, fees that were ultimately published to the public. We did lower, which I believe is the board's concern.
Mhm.
And you wanted it stated exactly what the fee would be. You didn't want it just built off of the first tier.
Yep.
So, for the residential, we had the 0 to 200 square feet, and it was, you know, the $100.
Yep.
And then we just said the second level, we said $100 plus. This is stating $100 plus
Mhm.
25 cents a square foot over 200. So every square foot over 200 is the 25 cents, the base is 100. So we published in the paper, as per RSA, that the fees were going to be proposed, that there was a public hearing tonight, and for members of the public to either reach out to me, visit the website, or there's a whole wall of it posted in the hallway. Because we wanted residents to have a chance to review
Yep.
it in case they had any concerns. I have received none. And no one has questioned or commented to your assistant at the
Mhm.
building department. So,
Okay.
you know, I think they're as good, and I think we did a very thorough review, and hopefully the budget committee is happy with this. We did discuss the June 1st effective date.
Mhm.
That's gonna give us some time to figure out how to update MyGov.
I got you there.
Okay.
What was that last sentence? Update what?
MyGov.
The building department, the
Gotcha.
building permit
Gotcha.
system.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought they were
Questions?
fine.
Yeah.
They looked, remember the initial thing was, well, they're
Yeah.
lower than we expected, which is good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you did a comparison of other towns, so,
Yes,
and all the other department heads looked at it and commented.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
Any more discussion? We need to close the hearing then. Okay, we need a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion from Mr. Brunel,
I'll second it.
second from Ms. Queen, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. Meeting is closed at 6:50 PM. All right, now, any further discussion before we make a motion to accept?
Nope, it's just long overdue.
Okay, all right, you want a motion? Anybody?
I'll make a motion that we approve / adopt, the Litchfield fee charges as we discussed and shared with the public over the last few weeks.
Perfect. Motion from Mr. Brunel,
I'll second it.
second from Mr. Ginn. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. Okay, that puts that to rest. All right. Paul, you're all set. All right, cool. Thanks, thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, up next, we have members of the Veterans Park here, so let's move that up here. The Veteran Park Use Policy, proposed first draft. So let's move that up to the top here. If I can find it.
6.
Number 6? 6, okay. Very good. Has everybody had a chance to review it? If you, why don't you guys come on up in case you have any questions? You guys have any questions on it? All right, yep.
I have no questions unless you have questions from us.
No?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just like you.
Of course you do, that's right.
Bobby Jacques, 18 Lock Mill Drive, just
Hello, Captain.
Commander.
So of course, we worked with, the veterans on the draft of the policy.
Yep.
I do wanna specify and put this out there that we can't, charge for rental of the space.
Yep.
Although, you know, internally, there's at least been some concern about having funds dedicated for the upkeep
Mm-hmm,
of this park.
mm-hmm.
because that has to, the establishment of any type of trust fund like that would have to go to warrant. I think it's something we look at, next, well, come December,
Come December, yeah.
when we present the budget. But I think it's a good idea to look at how we can charge a minimal fee
Mhm.
for use of the park to go into that fund
Mhm.
to be dedicated specifically to the upkeep of the park. You know, Highway's going to do their very best, to take care of the park and do any work that's required. Although I see veterans out there already.
Mhm.
And, you know, I think we've worked through it, police, fire, highway, and town clerk all also weighed in on this policy. We did already have a member of the public come from the Lions Club who wants to rent it, and we told her she had to wait until after this evening to see if the policy passed.
Yeah, they want to have an ice cream social in June.
But
awesome.
I think it's a good policy.
So in the meantime, if somebody rents it, we'll set that money aside, and provided we get a approval in
No,
March
right
from
now,
the voters.
just as the policy states, we're just taking a deposit.
Okay,
And if the park is in good
left in
shape,
good shape,
then they'll get their deposit back.
okay.
That's not ultimately what we would suggest.
Mhm.
But if we rented it and we took in funds, it would just go into the general fund right now.
Oh, okay.
And it couldn't be dedicated for the park, and we just don't think that's the right thing to do to,
Agreed.
so, you know, we'd change the policy if the trust fund passed the legislative body, and
Yep.
I do think if for some reason, someone was to have some damage to the park and we could not return their deposit, it would go in the general fund, but we would pay out of the general government buildings line,
For the
whatever
repairs.
that cost of repair is, so it would be a wash, in the meantime.
Okay,
If I could, if I'm.
absolutely.
I think it's good that people go ahead and have to be held accountable. And I think, you know, by them filling out the forms and then doing that, even though they're gonna get it back, it just shows that they're understanding that they're accountable for what they're gonna go ahead and use it. And like we said, when we built it, we want people to take care of it. And I think by doing that, it just makes that person or whoever's gonna do that, more accountable, and they know that they gotta keep it the way it's gotta be, you know? Because it's, as we all know, that, you know, those benches and everything else is a lot of money. I mean, we did it for that one reason, we wanted to make it what we did. I mean, but just be mindful, like we said here, in this whole thing, which I think is there, is like, we want you to use it, we want you to get involved in it, but you gotta be accountable. So if your people come, you brief them, you know, like anything else, and there's no hassle, everything's fine.
Yep.
You know? That's-
So some of the concerns I have would be, you know, after working on the rec for so many years, is who's gonna manage it, who's gonna police it, what are the associated fees? What SLAs, I guess you could say, that come with it, like the rec is starting to now rent out the fees, but we've always been told to kind of avoid that, because when someone pays you money, they expect a certain service level. So I just wanna make sure that we're thinking about all that. I think it's a good idea, especially if we can go back into maintaining the park and,
Right.
you know, it's just those questions that we've heard over the years, like really who's managing, who's policing, what are the fees gonna be, and what kind of level of service will they get with it?
Well, we're maintaining it, right? The
So
town is, yeah.
the highway department is maintaining it, and, you know, we wanted this, obviously, we wanna protect the park, so I think you've got a number of eyes on it all day long.
Well, you have the veterans, and they're all.
Yeah,
They're all wanted.
they got their eyes on it.
But we did, in the meantime, what we did, Mr. Ian, is that when I came, we said we were gonna go ahead and have the mats for the, when they had, you know, they bring on their grills and all that. we were gonna store them here, and they don't have the storage here, so we went out and bought, and I showed this to the chairman, on Saturday. We bought a toolbox, much like you have like in a Tundra.
Job box, yeah.
Yeah, and we got the keys, 10 keys, we got them all, got all the keys made, and we're just gonna go ahead and lay a pad, and they're gonna anchor it in the ground. So when people come, and this is what it looks like, they'll get, there's two sets of keys for the electricity, and also, for the boxes, and then they'll also have another key for the box. So in the box there's two mats, and also they can put, a trash can liners. It's pretty deep. So when I call them DPW, but the highway department puts it in there, the people just go ahead and it'll be pretty transparent that that everything's right there. You know, I don't think that's gonna be an issue with anything.
And how would they come to town hall to request?
Yeah, they were
use
supposed
of
to
it?
go with the town clerk, so we had worked that before, Terry's office was gonna manage that whole process.
Yeah.
And brief them, and in here also, it even has a copy of, and when they get this here, when they open up the box, it tells them, you know, when you hit the button, the top button, the fan comes on, the bottom button, the lights come on, you know, and pretty simple. And those black flies, gone away, they ain't gonna be there no more,
All gone.
all gone, ain't gonna be good, so I think it's all good, you know.
And the town clerk's office has the capability to take a credit card and for the deposit, should they so wish. They can give a credit card number, to Terry, and they'll fill out the forms. The only difference with this policy being in some of your other policies, like a permit comes to the Board of Selectmen, these rentals would just be handled internally by staff.
So it'd be town clerk and yourself.
So, one question on the deposit, you said the town clerk's gonna run the credit card?
I think she's gonna just take the number and hold it.
She can't,
What do you
it's
mean?
against PCI. We detest, we have no numbers stored.
So if she runs it for a transaction, it has to go through.
It has to go through, but there's also a transaction fee associated with it too, because the town can't absorb it.
Right.
So that means, and I don't know what happens when you do the return. Maybe a question to ask her.
She could do it, but I'll definitely check.
I just
We should
remind
check
her
it.
about the PCI policy. Well, you
Yeah.
have to attest it for the PCI for the transaction, so we do it every year, and it basically clearly states that we can't do it.
Okay, good,
I mean, we
good
can
catch, John.
change it
Very
to,
good catch.
has to be by check, cash or check,
And then you just hold the check, and then when they get it back, you cancel it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
however, as long as they leave a,
But I would also maybe put a clause in here about if you void check on us or put it on hold by the bank, there's a fee associated to get it all back, but, yeah, I think by check would be better and cleaner. No cash, obviously, because I think we can't hold cash neither. But ask her, she may have figured out a way to do it where they can put it pending, like a pending charge only, and it just sits there, but I don't know.
Okay, I'll ask.
And clerical thing, section 4K, you have, town administrator, but it's 3 Liberty Drive, and it's supposed to be 2. It's a PDF, I can't help you change it.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
It's all right.
Section-
I think, I sent a note, obviously I couldn't be there for the
Yeah,
celebration
I know
and the
that,
opening,
right,
and
we know that.
I think this is a great asset for the town, and it can help, in my opinion, it helps the residents in the community understand what the veterans have done for the country, but, and also for our town. And it keeps it always in the forefront, so I think it's a really great thing for this town.
We had a great turnout.
I saw some of the pictures, looked like a ton of
We had
people.
over probably close to 300 people, and
That's nice.
oh, yeah.
I think it was great for the kids. I think it was great, the kids that came, I think they were really, we went back to the middle school because they're doing cornhole this week, and I know I'm kind of regressing, but they're doing their tournament that they all support, the Reach Across America. The kids had their shirts on, you know, their shirts, the band folks, they had their shirts on, so it's really been
Nice.
a great thing for everybody. I think everybody appreciated what we said, and
Right.
can't say enough about it.
Can't say enough for work you guys have done.
Now, you'll still see us out there with gallon jugs, because we're still trying to take care of
All the watering.
all the trees, so
Yep.
at least a couple more weeks, we're just water them every day, and, we got other things going on the other side of the pathway, which it says World War I, World War II career, because we ran out of time, and I talked to Ms. Kleiner, And we had to give it back to you guys before we wanted to give it back, like never, but no. But we did, we had to do that, so that was, I guess, the law said April, and so
Yep.
in May, but we're still doing, you'll see us doing that stuff, but you won't get rid of us, they'll still be there, so. Right, Billy?
I'm sorry,
John? So, and this is the book, once you get this approved, this will go to Terry, and you all get the the keys and everything, and so I'm just waiting for everybody to sign it, you tell me it's good to go, and we're good.
But I have a couple questions though.
Sure.
Let's do it's a PDF. Can you search for a word? I can you? Search for the word fire. It's there 6 times.
Yeah,
The
section
first one
3.
is section 3,
Yep.
I. No open flame fires or grilling except if renting the pavilion. And I just want to make sure that you mention it one more time later. I just want to make sure it's as solid as that. So that's good, right?
Yeah.
And then if you go down, 1, 2, 3.
Except if renting the
Fire chief.
All right, G on section 4.
Yeah.
It says gas grilling is allowed on the asphalt only,
Right.
as long as there is a grill mats
Yep.
underneath the grills to catch any grease drops provided. No grilling is allowed under the pavilion, no other fires allowed in the park. Do we want to say unless you're renting it? Unless you,
Not inside not inside the,
Pavilion,
with
no.
the cement coming up there.
I just want to make sure it's a consistent statement. 3I
Yes.
and
So
this
there's no
4G.
other fires in the park.
Yep,
So you're
The
treating the park
versus
different?
the pavilion.
Okay, is that, as long as you're,
Two
I'm
separate
checking.
areas.
and you
yeah.
can't even, you can't grill in the pavilion either, you have to be outside.
Okay, so that's not a concern.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Exactly.
Because
This is
that's
why
on
we're
the
checking.
asphalt,
All right.
that's on the asphalt, under the pavilion, it's concrete.
And they're gonna have all those,
And they
it's
have
two
the
big
mats,
mats,
yeah.
it's huge, so there won't be no grease and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
we're hoping that, they don't track that into the other side of that thing, but.
10 o'clock. So let me
I
just, if you
myself-
don't rent it, the pavilion, you can go over there, right?
Anytime.
Anytime.
yeah, people can go.
It's 10
in.
o'clock at night. I'm concerned about the one neighbor over. Well, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night, I don't know if a bunch of kids will be hanging around. That's a concern. I don't know.
So 10 o'clock at night, the park closes.
It's closed.
Is it, okay.
It is closed.
Is 10 o'clock late on a summer, is what I'm asking the group.
I think 10 o'clock
I think
is
it's fair.
sufficient.
Let's see, what do you guys think?
I don't
Ten's-
have time
ten's
with
all
10
right.
PM. Typically, people will be out of there before
Sure,
10 PM
yeah.
anyway.
I'm just
That's fine, yep,
thinking of the citizens next door.
yep.
The only other thing is, I looked for, we have town admin, town clerk, board of selectmen, fire chief, police chief. I looked up chief in the documents as Miss Chief quite a bit, but, we have town administrator a few times, and one time you have your name next to it. I don't know.
Is that
At-
for
It's in there somewhere, just, again, to be consistent.
reporting of insurance? Yeah, if something happens.
If you could just remove your name, just in case you're
Okay.
gonna be here forever, but just in case.
No, I'm not.
Just so it's, just for everyone else, nobody's named, just.
Sure.
And you are their town administrator in other places without your name.
Sure.
Just cleaning that up, that's all.
I think it's, so it's
As
also
far as 10 PM, I think
4K.
Dara
Okay.
is,
It's just
if they have an
minor.
event, they close at 11 PM. It's always done by 11
Yeah.
PM.
Yeah.
But I agree, 10 PM, I don't think. it
10's
would-
fine.
I don't
As
see
long as there's
people
not
do that.
25 kids out there having a party. Well, if
Yeah,
they are,
yeah.
we'll deal with it.
Yeah.
We'll, all right.
We have our
So-
friends next door.
No.
It looks good. You mentioned later, I don't know, you mentioned here, town hall. Sometimes you're mentioning town hall and bylaws. Later on, there's something I want to mention where you, so you're saying it's on the town hall website or something. You're saying it's on the town
Yes.
website. That's good. Leave it there. Just later on in the evening, when we have another item we're looking at, we're also saying it's on the Facebook and website as well. So I just want to make sure, not about this is good, but we're consistent with where we're publishing things.
Yes.
Well,
And
one-
I think this will be in there.
Okay,
I think that we'll post this in Terry's board in the hallway. Should someone come into that outer area and wanna know and they can't get in. We'll have it out there as well. I do wanna, section 7 and.
7?
Whoa.
Selectman Queen and I discussed this RSA,
we have section 7.
went back to,
634, semicolon 2,
yes, criminal
criminal
mischief.
mischief, okay.
So I wanna call this out to people,
Mhm.
because there is actually an RSA that prevents people from doing damage on public property.
Okay,
And we had an incident a couple weeks ago.
The potty.
So I think this is one that we should
Take note of.
call attention to and make sure that our residents are aware of. That especially if the loss is in excess of 1,500, it can rise to a Class B felony.
If I may, John, you can tell them who you are, you have to tell them.
John Mendoza, 50 Century Lane.
hey,
I
John.
remember you talked about having it posted.
Yeah, we had thought of possibly making a board out there and post all this information,
Like a kiosk, yeah.
Yeah,
which is probably a great idea. Yeah.
But I heard that before we can put something in the ground, we gotta have the selectmen, you know, before you bang a post in the ground.
any problems with that?
I have no problem with
kiosk
it.
is
Does
a great
anybody have a
idea.
problem with it? No? No? I think it's a
So
great
this way
idea.
here, there'll be, like you say, right, John?
Yeah, all the information would be right there on the board, people can read it, they come up, and it'll be located where that box is.
Yep.
So before they unlock the box, they read all the information.
Plus, there'll be people are gonna be asking the question, can we rent it? And if they look around, they'll be able to have all the
Exactly.
information
Yeah.
in front of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people walk through the park all the time, they may not know that they can rent it.
Because we see them all the time, and we'll say, they say, well, I don't know if I can sit on these benches, you know, what I mean,
Of course they can.
They're
Yeah, so
afraid,
no
they're-
standing on the back.
Yeah, yeah.
right, I mean, we say, come on, enjoy the park, and they're like, really?
Yeah,
So,
once they get over the ooh-ah factor, right?
it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I think John had a great suggestion.
Yep.
I think we should do that. We talked about
Thank you,
that.
yeah.
So when we put the box down on the cement pad, have it behind it,
Yep.
so when people come up, it's right there, so this way here, people will walk over and they'll see it. That'll kind of take away a lot of the questions, even though Terry's gonna have it
Yeah.
posted here at Town Hall, it'll be pretty much there, so.
Yeah,
See if we can come up with something that'll last outside with the elements and whatnot.
Right.
Maybe cover it with a piece of plexiglass or something.
That's where we
Right.
talked about that, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Kids should not be partying after 10 near a police station.
not
They're
if
smart.
they're smart.
It's the last place I think to look. All right,
No, I thought it looked good.
yeah, okay. So we need to move to adopt this, right?
Yes, and then I will get, Mr. Jacques a clean copy tomorrow. I
Okay.
think there is a clean, I hope
Yeah.
there's a clean copy.
Yep. Okay, so
You
we'll
want my
take,
copy?
Is that the
Want
clean
my
copy? What's this
No, I
thing? Oh, that's
think
something.
That's the- that's the
I thought I
town
took the
water.
watermark out for,
I didn't finish it, but go ahead, yeah.
Yes, you wanna look at something?
did I?
um,
Is that the policy?
I'm just removing her name, right?
Yep.
You're just removing her name?
Yes,
Is that
I
the
did.
only item?
Yep, yep. And then she'll do a clean copy tomorrow, so.
Yeah, there was 2 or 3 changes she had to make.
Yep.
Her name and
What were
an address.
yours?
The
Oh, the
address.
2 Liberty,
Yeah.
Liberty Way, yeah.
But I need your signatures,
Yeah, that last page should be fine.
so I'll get the last page and then. we'll see.
Yeah, we can sign the last page. Change it.
So I'll make a motion that we accept the Veterans Park use policy as amended.
Second.
We have a second from Mr. Brunel. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 400. Very good, gentlemen.
Last thing I'd say is, I thank you, Mr. Gannon, for bringing the sound system. I think it worked really well.
Yep.
Sorry you couldn't be there.
It was-
I had to work.
That's okay,
Yeah,
John
one of
was
those
there,
things,
but,
right?
but I'm sure you
Be
got
there
your
for
coins in.
graduation.
Yeah.
We just tell you that we're pretty excited to see the town have this back, and,
Yep.
and hopefully through the summer, people will enjoy it.
That's a ball,
And
BOS ball.
Well, the eyes are on it anyway, so
Yep.
we're all driving by.
That's right.
But there-
Many times a day, right?
Amen, amen. So, thank you.
It is well
Thank you very much.
patrolled.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Great job,
Thanks,
great
gentlemen.
journey.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
We'll see you Wednesday.
Yep.
Next week.
Next Wednesday is the
week.
golf tournament, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Come by,
Thank
bring
you.
money for raffle tickets.
Money for a raffle.
I'm coming for raffle tickets.
You got all the money.
Don't remind me.
All right, so let's see where we're at here. So we have a gentleman in the crowd.
He's being appointed, I believe,
Is
right?
he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Geez, is he-
I
Move
don't,
that up.
I don't see it.
Yeah, they-
I don't see it on my consent.
No,
Conservation,
it's under, so all of the, on the portal,
section 8.
section 8 of the portal,
Oh, so,
it lists all the names. On the agenda, we're just
So-
putting board and commission appointments.
oh, I don't see that on here, so.
You don't see that?
It's here.
Yeah,
It's on computer, it's
Right
not
here.
on the paper
it's
copy.
weird though, 'cause
Where?
Yeah, board and
things are
commission
disappearing off my
appointments.
yeah.
screen.
Reappointments.
Oh,
Do we have to re-log in?
Okay, reappoint. Come on up, young fella.
Log back in. Things are dropping
Rob,
off the screen.
to conservation.
Yeah. So, why don't you tell us your name and your address, and then we'll find out why you're here.
That sounds good. Rob Grenier, 5 Shirley Way.
How you doing, Rob?
Pretty good, and yourself?
Good. Which committee?
Conservation.
Oh, full-time, part-time?
Appointed as an alternate member
An
for a
alternate
term
member.
to expire March 2027. He was recommended by the Conservation Commission, completely, what's the word I'm
Mhm.
looking for?
Yeah, unanimously.
Yeah.
I was at the meeting when Rob joined, came up and talked to the commission. Between his interests, his background, his experience,
Yeah.
in conservation and other things, that he works with,
Yeah.
he's a great fit.
Good.
So, and he lives
Give
on
us,
Sabre
give us
Town
a,
Street.
give us a Reader's Digest version.
Yeah, okay, sure. I'm currently a fisheries biologist for a private environmental consulting company here in New Hampshire. I'm a medically retired Air Force veteran, and then I'm a UNH graduate.
Thanks for your service.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. So as far as my my degree is environmental conservation and sustainability. I'm actually just starting the process to pursue my master's degree, and I'm looking at wildlife conservation and biology. But as far as my scope of work, I do a lot of pretty much aquatic assessments, water quality, kind of monitoring. Everything from tagging salmon and alicine or river herring to dealing with macroinvertebrates and whatnot. And then I have education in forestry and wetlands and obviously sustainability and whatnot. So
I think he's overqualified.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't that long ago that we had a salmon hatchery in Litchfield.
oh really, in Litchfield?
Yeah, it was right on 3A down by the end of Talent Road behind my mother's property, next to the river. They were trying to reintroduce salmon into the Merrimack.
Yep.
They still own the property, it's just not used anymore.
It's
right?
not used anymore, no.
That was what 2015 is I think when they stopped.
No, it was before that.
Was it before that?
Yeah, that piece anyways, it might be somewhere else still.
Yeah.
But yeah, they used to come up every spring and they would channeled water from the river into these ducts, aqueducts I'll call them. And
Nice.
they would put the salmon in there with the natural river water and
Yeah.
with the hopes that they would go out and then come back and spawn.
I just weren't getting their smolt returns.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep. So, yeah, and they did that for a few years.
Yeah.
I'd say probably 5, 6 years anyways.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, and all the equipment, everything's done, it's probably rusted all to hell, but, you know, but, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think he's a great choice, guys. And John already gave him a high recommendation, so. We got a motion to approve him?
I'll make a motion to approve Robert Edward Grenier to the Conservation Commission as an alternate member with terms expiring of, what'd you say it was, Ken?
March
March
2027.
2025?
27.
March 2027?
We have a motion from Mr. Gannon? I'll second it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. Thank you and welcome. You need to see the town clerk to get sworn in, right? Okay. Have Terry swear you in, or Laura, one of them. And, thank you again, man. It's just awesome.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's looking forward to it. You know,
Yeah.
it's figuring. You know, I've lived in town for going on 10 years now. and
Yep.
Came here. You know, moved here when I was active duty, and you know, wanted to figure out to get more involved. I'm really kind of ashamed to have lived in town for so long, almost a decade, and really know much about Litchfield. So it's because I work too
That
much.
committee's firing all cylinders too, they're doing really well.
It looks like a good committee, and
Structured well.
when I sat in last month on one of their meetings, it seems like it's something really up my alley. So
Was that the
Looking
bridge
for-
conversation? Talking
Yeah,
about
the
bridges,
bridge, yeah, the bridge conversation, yeah.
Oh, going over Brickyard?
No.
Parker Park, I think, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Park
Park, yeah,
Bridge.
Brickyard, yeah.
Yeah. So, I know they were already asking me about the, helping out with the fishing
Fishing
derby,
derby on Saturday.
It's this
which
Saturday.
happens to be my birthday, so.
Saturday's your birthday, the
Yeah, May
18th?
18th, yeah. So, all righty.
Very good.
Well, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, and happy
Appreciate
birthday.
you getting on board, and happy birthday, yeah, early birthday.
Thanks.
Do we want to run through the rest of the commission appointments?
Yes.
Do we have other ones?
Yeah, there's other ones. They're
Number 8.
reappointments, basically, looks
Yeah.
like.
So, library.
We have an abatement.
Sorry.
Yes.
Can we just, send an email to the swearing, or
To Terry, just come here,
Oh.
right?
Yes, so the
just come in?
town clerk's where you register your cars.
She's here
Yeah, just
7
come on
to
in.
4.
Yep.
7 to 4.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thank you, sir. Okay. All right, what else we have?
So we have a reappointment for
Number
Steve
8.
Kalawa to the Heritage Commission.
Hold
If you
on.
want, I can do those. I can do them one at a time if you want.
In the portal,
Yeah, we jumped
number
around a
8
little
on the
bit, but
portal.
So number 8 in the portal.
That's all I can do to open these damn things.
It's time to close some of those tabs.
All right, I'll have you go through them and help me close them then. Okay, so what else we got here? That was Grenier.
Yep, so next one is,
That's all I got. Right, I got Grenier and that's it.
He's looking at the attachments.
the attachment, though. That's his, that's
You know, when you go to the portal itself?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we reappoint Stephen Kalawa to the Heritage Commission for a term to expire March 2027.
I'll second it.
We have a motion from Mr. Brunel and a second from Mr. Gannon. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0. And he needs to go get sworn in again, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I 1.5 that?
145, all right.
I'll make a motion to approve the resignation of Jeff Larson, effective May 4th, 2024.
And what is Jeff on the
Library trustee,
library trustee?
Are we appointed trustees?
yes.
I'll second
So
that.
we received,
sorry.
his resignation letter, the library director sent it over, with the recommendation for the next item.
Okay. Well, you already said you second that, right,
Yeah.
Kim?
Yeah. 'cause I saw
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0. I want to thank him for his service
If it's out.
on the library trustees.
So I'll make a motion to appoint former library trustee Gail Musco to the Board of the Library Trustees, replacing Jeff Larson for a term to expire March of 2026.
Motion from Mr. Brunel,
I'll second it.
second from Mr. Gannon. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0-0.
Gail's just finishing out his term, right? Is that what I
And
read?
Gail is finishing out, Mr. Larson's term,
Okay, Yep.
and Gail has served on the library trustees before.
Yep.
So we're thankful she would step up. Do something.
all right.
So we're back to number 2.
Back to number 2, approval of minutes.
Yep.
For April 22nd, 2024.
Actually, we would have two, right?
Yeah, that's number 2, right?
Yeah.
And
Section
Oh,
two
no, we didn't
business.
do,
this is an item.
we didn't do 1 or 2, right?
Where are we?
April 8th or April 22nd?
Right.
All right, so we need to go to number 1 first. And I'll take the blame for throwing the meeting out of order and into chaos.
There,
Right.
where is it?
I'll make a motion to approve, was I here that night? Yes. Motion to approve the meeting minutes from April 8th, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Gannon, a second from Mr. Brunel. Any discussion?
No,
Any alterations? Nothing?
I have one on the next one, but not this
Okay.
one.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm gonna abstain because I guess I was not here that night, but that's okay.
Can he still make the motion?
Yep. I
Okay.
can actually still vote
Yeah.
as long as I
good.
read the minutes.
Oh, okay.
But-
Motion carries 3-0-1.
301.
Thank you for clarifying that. Up next, meeting minutes from April 22nd, 2024.
I will make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the April 22nd, 2024 Board of Selectmen meeting.
A motion from Mr. Gannon,
Second.
second from Mr. Brunel. Any discussion?
I just have one.
Okay,
And it's okay the way they stay, but I just want clarification. If you go to the top of bottom of page 5, top of page 6, I was gonna sit in for, on the planning board for the EPA vote, and then when you get to, in case one of our members couldn't make it, I was gonna sit there for the,
oh, yeah.
Yes.
so on top of page 6, the attendance for the future meetings, Selectmen's rep attendance was discussed, the board, I will go to that meeting as the alternate.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's all future meetings, I just wanna know, was that future meeting, but. See, it says attendance at future
Yeah.
meetings, if you just wanna
Oh,
say
I thi-
future meeting on May 7th, or.
No, I think that the alternate is in case the
Am
regular
I an
can't make
alternate?
it.
I thought it was an alternate just for that one day.
You may have volunteered.
Oh, I can't strike him on camera.
They
All
keep on
right,
dragging
so
it
I have a
back in.
I mean, I'm just being honest, I cannot attend every planning board meeting.
No,
Right.
no, you don't have to.
Understood.
All right, I will leave it, but that's,
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mr. Lynch
It's not
is our
squishy.
regular, and,
okay,
and I did talk to him about
Okay.
if he can't make a meeting, to let us know in advance so that we
Okay.
can have somebody go. So, like John has said that he'll sit in for me if I can't make budget. And, you know, so it's good to have somebody backing up, especially on these boards, because these are the important ones, the real important ones. Not that the others aren't, so, don't everybody send me hate mail. It's not funny, John. All right, all those in favor say, with the, of the.
No change.
You didn't change it? Okay, you just.
no,
wanted
but I just want
clarification.
you to be aware, I mean,
Yep.
I have a plan on a Tuesday night that I,
Yeah.
can't get out of, but I'll be
Yeah.
the alternate
Yeah,
backup.
okay, yeah, just a backup, yes. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries 400. Approval of abatement, lot 12, map 31. Ms. Kleiner, what do we got here?
So this abatement was before you a couple weeks ago, and we asked that you deny it because there was some discrepancy in the acreage of the land, and it was going to be surveyed and corrected. It was, our assessor reviewed it, and now we are asking you to approve it, the amount of $42.61. The acreage therefore was incorrect, and we do owe
Yep.
the resident.
Do we have it in the budget?
We have it in overlay.
All right, we need a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the abatement of tax map 12, lot 31, due to acreage that was corrected, and the approval in the amount of $42.61.
Second.
Motion for Mr. Gannon, second for Mr. Brunel. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 400.
Bob, before we move on to the next one,
Yes, sir.
can I get an item added to the agenda?
Sure, what do you got?
I want to make a motion to add a application for sign usage by the Litchfield Historical Society. Needs to be approved. Before we forget.
That's good, because that was my note.
Was it okay?
No signs.
You said something about that earlier, too. Yep.
I
Yeah,
said,
Kim-
"Hey, whatever they,
Kim-
whatever they
Kim-
wanna do.
Kim gave it to me to put it in, but we didn't, we just so out of order, we didn't ask for any other business, so
And that's
before I
all.
lose track, 'cause I'll forget
Oh,
too.
if that's what they wanted.
Do we need to vote that in?
Yes.
Yeah, we have to vote.
Yes,
Do we
we
need
have
a
to
motion,
vote
so
to
you want
add
to
it.
make your motion?
Yeah, so I just want to make a motion to approve the application for use of sign for Litchfield Historical Society. Let's see, the date of use would be May 14th, 2024 to May 28th, 2025. And it's informational about the town's Memorial Day Parade and program.
24th and, to what are the
May
dates?
14th to the 25th.
14th to the 28th of May.
Pre-Memorial Day. I'll say.
I thought you said 2025, and it would be.
That's what I thought he said, too, yeah.
But I said that, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought you said May 25th myself, so we'll check the video.
May I second? I'll second that.
So we have a motion for Mr. Brunel and a second for Ms. Queen. Any further discussion?
No?
No? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. So that will be on tonight for approval. All right, let's see. Conditional approval special event 4th of July parade.
So, the team, highway couldn't attend, due to a family emergency, but they had very carefully created a list of all the intersections that the parade route,
Okay,
would cause, the need for flaggers or cert, professionals. Again, we've noted that highway staff is not available.
Yep.
This day, and then they created this map, which you also see on the portal with all the,
Yep.
Intersections.
okay.
So we met, the fire chief, the, Mr. Hubbard, who is assisting him with the CERT team, the police chief, and the Flints, and
Mhm.
what we don't know right now is that we have have enough CERT team to cover the area.
So
We just don't know that.
to add on that, all because you're on cert does not mean that you're certified flagger. So we had a flagger certification course.
Yep.
That was part of cert, but not all members were there. And then we had, like, last weekend was the cert CPR, AED for 2 weekends. That, all because you're there, that doesn't mean that you're a certified flagger. So that's something I also mentioned to them that day is, we have to make sure that they are certified in flagging and not just a member of the cert, because it's two different things.
So unfortunately, we didn't feel that we could make a commitment to the Flints that we would hold the parade. What we could say is conditionally, should we find enough flaggers, it would be approved. And so we told them that we would bring it to you tonight with that condition. When Chief Nickel returns, next week, he is scheduled to, meet with Londonderry, talk to Londonderry. We've been talking to Nashua. He's talking to a couple others, and they are checking with their members. And when you have your next meeting, June 1st, you'll be going over all the policies and the procedures and everything with CERT, and they should have a better number, by then of how many we have available.
How many intersections do we have? Do
So
have
we
any-
did count with the Flints, and
Yep.
we agreed that there were 19.
So you need
flaggers
19
needed.
flaggers. You
Yeah.
need 19 flaggers, okay.
Yeah.
And how many do we have?
10? I think there were 10 that
think-
attended.
10, yeah, that attended.
Yeah.
But that's July 4th week.
Yep.
A
Right.
weekend, so we don't know, nobody has committed to just yet. And then also, in order for this to occur, Doug has to call up the CERT team. And then, so he said he was going to reach out to Londonderry and some of the other CERT teams to see if they had people that were certified flaggers that would be available for this parade, and should hopefully have an accurate count by June 1st.
Now, some of that, not all, but I mean, some could be mitigated by if you have, and I'm not saying a car, if you have a significant vehicle,
Blocking the road.
dump truck, blocking the road, if it has a driver with it
Yep.
at all times.
Yep.
But I don't think we're at a place where we can understand what even the numbers of that and flaggers and, you kind of want to work backwards. You want to know how many flaggers you have.
Yep.
Then how can we work vehicles into it to kind of mitigate? The police chief did tell them he would require 2 detail officers at the holiday detail rate, so they would be charged for that.
So that's something I question that the truck, say, we had dump trucks there, does that qualify, or do you need a certified flagger? You need someone to move the piece of equipment in case of emergency, but do you still require a flagger? And that's something
Well, a vehicle will
Never-
suffice, right? A vehicle would
Yeah.
suffice as a blockage with the driver there.
Right,
But
we
is that
never
a
had a
flagger?
flagger, we never had a flagger
It doesn't have to be a
with-
flagger. She said or.
I don't know.
said
I
or,
question
right?
that. I don't know.
Yeah, just my past experience in my past municipality, that's not here. You did not, if you had the equipment. Now, little different, because the equipment that was used in that municipality was city staff.
So they have radios and everything else.
So they had radios, they had everything. I mean, we don't have dump trucks and crews to drive them.
Yeah, it says here, highway's not gonna be even available for this, for the event.
Yeah, the 3 highway workers are all off that day.
And
So
they're,
maybe we need to find out if actual vehicles will be permitted to be suitable. And if they are, I don't think we'd have a problem, because people line their cars along the road anyways. You know, we just pick how many we need, you park here, you park here, you park here.
they have to
It's
be,
not
but they have to be
allowed.
in, but they have to be in the
Yeah,
car.
yeah, well, they don't have to be in the car, they have to be at the car, they can be sitting on the hood, right? They don't
Sure,
have to be
but
in the vehicle, they just have to be
It's
able
not
to
a
move it.
regular car.
I don't think
Not a
having
regular
somebody
car.
block the road in a car qualifies.
No.
it's
I
not
think
large
they're
enough.
talking a
Dump truck.
18.
Yeah, you're talking a commercial vehicle.
It has to be a
Like
commercial
a
vehicle?
ten-wheeler or something like that.
So the concern obviously is the things that have been occurring where you don't want somebody going around you and, you know, getting into the middle of the parade. And if there's a dump truck sitting there, they
Well, I
will,
think if you have cones that are there as well, I think that would,
you have to be his flagger.
And we have no commitment on the cert, we don't know how much we're gonna get. That's the
Right.
June first date.
I
And
mean,
the-
CERT has done amazing, right? And I wanna give Chief Nickel and Captain Hubbard all the credit for this, because they started this and, you know, had nothing and really looked at me and said, are you crazy? And they've put this together really quickly. Thank you very much to Londonderry for their
Yep.
assistance. I just think we have to give them a couple more weeks till after the June 1st meeting to,
Solidified plans.
right,
Yeah, and I am certified a flagger, and I also attended the weekend of AED, CPR, Stop the Bleed, so I'm certified in that too.
But are you gonna be here on the fourth?
I believe I am at this point, yeah. So I could block one road.
In the Flints, they're picking up the detail cost?
they are,
How many hours is that? That's 4 hours,
4
right?
hours.
it's a minimum 4 hours.
4 hours for 2 officers.
With a vehicle.
And two vehicles.
Do they-
Two vehicles, 2 cars.
So
Double time and a
$15
half.
times 4 times 2.
Yes, it's not cheap.
We need to figure out how to make this happen, I think.
Well, sure, but we
Whatever
need to
we
do
have.
it the right way and make
Oh,
sure
yeah,
we're
absolutely do it
protected.
the right way, but,
And then also, part of the new policy is vehicles have to be registered.
yeah.
So you have to have a legal license, you have to have a plate on it. Be on town road. Unless it's all blocked, right? There's so many little, this
Yeah,
is so much
so,
to this.
our town clerk, Terry, has done a wonderful job working with, a few residents that have tractors that could be registered and could be classified as farm.
Farm equipment.
So, we have worked with some of those. There's nothing that's ever going to make the go-karts
Legal.
legal on the roads. That's just not gonna happen.
So-
You know, I think that's the whole idea of them really wanting to close the route completely, is so that they can allow some of these other vehicles on. That doesn't mean that these vehicles can be driven to the parade route, because they should not be on Charles Bancroft Highway
Yeah.
ever.
I don't think they did that last time, I think they trailered them over, yeah. They drove them up the road? No, that sounds like something Mel would have done.
But, yeah, I mean, I give the Flints a lot of credit, they're working
Yeah.
very, very hard on
Yeah.
this. And they've been very, very patient, and I think they're both participating in CERT.
Okay.
And I understand there may be some ask of fireworks.
I saw something get posted, reaching out to Andy about fireworks.
Oh, really?
Where would they do that?
At Dara.
Dara, and they've done them before, Dara.
They did the last,
They
the
did
Christmas.
the Christmas
one
thing,
they
yeah,
had
yep.
one. But now we're talking July 4th.
But that was also a town event, recreation event. This is still classified not as a town event, so
Yeah.
wouldn't that be a little bit more difficult, insurance-wise and all that?
It won't be done in insurance.
Yeah, it would have to be their insurance, or,
Would they even have insurance?
We are requiring insurance they are getting a policy for the parade.
For the parade, okay.
Yeah, they
That's
are
right, it's in
getting
the,
their own
it's in the
policy.
policy, that's right.
And if you think about it too, Andy, his part-time job, he works for.
Yeah.
yeah.
Technic. They're gonna be busy on July 4th.
But if he's willing to do it, I
If
mean,
he's
He's
able
probably
to
doing
do
it someplace else, I don't think.
Yeah.
Right, he'll be working most likely.
Yeah.
he'll be doing
Some
one during the day and
municipality.
one at night, most likely.
Yeah.
Because his big show will be at night,
Yeah.
and he's been doing it for years. He knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I saw a Facebook post about trying to reach out to Andy, but. So you need a motion to at least,
Conditional.
Conditionally approve
Conditionally
it.
approve it, determining, you know,
Okay.
all right, so I'll make the motion that we conditionally approve the special event permit for the Fourth of July parade based upon successfully filling the need for approximately, we'll call it 19 CERT team members.
19 flaggers. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
flaggers, yeah,
Yep.
probably is a good point, flaggers.
I'll second that.
All right. Is there any other conditions that need to be included in this? So we just have to do one motion?
no, they are fully aware of the detail officers.
Okay.
And they are fully aware of the
Okay,
certificate of insurance
okay.
we're working on.
Okay, so it's the CERT, it's the staffing for
It's
the
a
flaggers.
staff,
Yep.
And so then, say they get 10 CERT members or certified flaggers, will we cut the parade route down? I'm trying to understand what is
I
the,
think we work with them, we go back and we work with them to
Might
see
have to.
what other alternatives, we could make, but at that point, they know that their permit isn't approved
yeah,
until we satisfy those
Yeah.
Okay.
alternatives.
so this allows them to get the ball rolling and get,
Yeah,
we are
It's a good
committed.
step for them.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay,
I agree.
I'm good with that.
all right.
The route still goes from the north end of Albuquerque down to the town hall, right?
same as last year,
Yeah,
yes.
Same as last year, okay. Very good. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. All right. Approval of uncollectible accounts receivable per policy in the amount of $10,623.36.
So, our favorite conversation,
Our
I
favorite?
put both of, the accounts receivable, write-off policy and, the disposition sheet on your portal. This is for write-off of, ambulance calls that the town
Oh, yeah.
cannot collect.
Yep.
So these have significantly been through collections,
Mm-hmm.
and have reached the minimum, date range for our policy. And we are asking for them to be disposed of. I think there's even been some movement at the legislature to see how we can correct this. Many other towns are having this issue.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Karen White works very hard. Hudson has been somewhat, as forthcoming as they can be. The HIPAA
Yep.
restrictions are very difficult because we are not the customer. And we are not even the provider. Hudson is. And so we try to get as much information as we can, and it's not everyone. There are people that
Yep.
just don't get the bill, and then
Yep.
we send them one, and they,
We see this every year. So, all right, we'll take a motion to,
I'll make a motion to approve the disposition of the uncollected accounts receivable per our policy in the amount of $10,623.36.
okay, we have a motion from Mr. Brunel,
I'll second that.
second from Ms. Queenan. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. All right. So what do we have
Skip
next?
6, we already did that.
Yep. Discussion, School Facilities Committee Communication.
So I asked for it to be added to the agenda.
Yep.
So there was I'm receiving these emails because LCTV is getting the calendar invites, anybody replying to all.
Yeah.
So that's how I saw the communications, but what concerns me was, there was a dialogue from one member, then yourself, Bob, with regards to the committee's direction and not agreeing with it, and stating the fact that the selectmen will not be representative anymore. Again, I don't believe this board has taken an action. We've already said we want to be collaborative. I think it's important, whether we agree with their direction or not, to be part of the conversation, so that we can represent our constituents that are going to have those challenges and those kind of things. And the way the tone came across was that authoritative, the Board of Selectmen will not participate anymore. And that's not a decision that you can make by yourself.
Well, we had discussed this in the meeting before, and when I said that, and nobody raised an objection. We
No,
absolutely did. During the selectmen reports, when I gave my first report on the school facilities, I stated that I felt like it was going in the direction of let's find a way to build a new school.
that is a direction, but that's their direction to decide. You need to be a representative of the board.
If you would like to take my place on that committee, you are more than
I don't know
welcome
if it cycles, Bob.
to. All right.
I'm already in here setting up things all the time for them to
Okay.
make sure it happens. But you need to,
Everybody knows my position on this.
right,
I
and you're a
back-
great voice to have.
And I back the taxpayers' vote 100%, and I see no reason to change.
And I think you can be there to remind them of that, but as a representative of the board, and you can't withdraw us from the conversation, that's my only point, that's all. I mean,
Well, I can withdraw myself.
you could.
Yeah.
But you're not.
It's not what I want to do. I want to be part of this going forward to work on a renovation of the elementary school, which is pretty clear what the voters said. Okay, but there's still a large member of this group that keeps bringing up a new school. And that, to me, is a slap in the face to the taxpayers. They made their voice heard. You know, and when someone says, how do we change a no vote to a yes vote? I mean, that to me is,
Well,
that's like the worst insult
yeah,
ever.
I read it, but again, this is between all the members, and I think what he was trying to figure out was why, the way I read it, and again, I'm third party to it, right? But the way I read it was, he's looking at, well, was it really the cost, or were there other factors? Can we find out why there was a no vote?
There was multitude of factors, and I've stated it several times.
I know you have.
It was the cost, it was the trust factor, it was the fact that the school's been voted down several times. It was, it's just a multitude of them, but it keeps coming up, okay? Do we go with a new school? Do we go with a renovation? What do we do here? What do we do? Again, I am not gonna ever support a new school because the voters said no. They emphatically said no. If you talk about a mandate, that vote was about as much of a mandate as you can get.
But the problem here is, Bob, you're saying it, you do not support, but you cannot represent us by saying I,
Right. Let's take a poll right here.
okay?
Support a new school?
I voted yes.
Do you support a new school?
That's not the question. The question is, should you speak for us?
Well,
You
you're
can
right.
speak for yourself as a citizen or a member of the board, but you can't say the Board of Selectmen
When you
says
say
X
I
or
just-
Y, because
just-
we were not there to even have the question or a debate.
When you say I, you have to specify me personally, and not I representing the board. Because obviously, transparent, I voted for the school, so my thought and your thought are polar opposites.
Okay, so
So-
moving forward, do you think it's wise that we start talking about a new school again? When the voters absolutely spoke clearly. No one can say that wasn't a clear vote.
It was, but they also have the no means no for a year, and I'm not saying that's their segue
Yep.
to start now,
And there
knowing
was-
there's lead time.
There was multiple factors too, like what John was saying, there was the trust factor.
I think trust had a big one.
I actually wonder too, like if you weeded that trust factor out, what would have happened?
Well, let's go back to the last 3 times the school's been on the warrant. The time before this, it failed by about 135 or 140 votes.
Yep.
The time before that, it was less than that. Every time they bring it forward, it gets bigger.
Yep.
The people have spoken.
Substantial.
How many times do you have to do this?
But the town, since those first votes, the town has changed.
It has changed,
It's
but
a
the
lot
number
more,
got bigger.
but the costs are getting bigger because that's the cost of
No,
construction.
I'm talking about the number of no votes, the percentages
Sure.
by which it is failing.
I believe trust factor is one, and I'll answer, I did vote yes, and I did it because of my grandkids. My grandkids are in those schools.
I got 7 grandkids in the
So
schools.
I'm concerned that the school is not fulfilling their needs, and I know it's gonna hurt me too on a tax base. It's gonna hurt me. So I did it because I'm gonna do without to see that the kids get what they need. But I think trust is a factor. I think all the misinformation that's going back and forth was a factor.
I actually, that's one area I thought they did very well with, getting their message out, informing people. I thought that was their one strong point. That was their one selling point. But it still failed miserably.
Right, and all I say, now the facility committee is a broken, it's made up of a mix of people.
It
Community
is.
members, representatives, all that. Let that group decide it, and don't kibosh it right there. Let them come to those same terms. You got your feedback, definitely share your feedback. But my point is, let them come to a conclusion of their own. Like the gentleman you were talking to, who started off the thread, I think he's trying to analyze different factors of why it may have occurred. It's not a bad thing to explore.
You can
But-
always ask why it failed. But when you start talking about how do you change a no vote to a yes vote and things like that, that's just,
Well, I think that's, the question was simple, like, was it a budget factor? If it was a budget, what's a reasonable what's a reasonable investment this town can handle that's appropriate, right? I think that's what they're asking. I think that's what he's trying to ask. I don't know if I would have said it the way he said it.
I
but-
think people are trying to read too much into it. They were asked if they want a new school. They said no. End of discussion.
I think that's what you're asking is in our bylaws, about saying it's a personal or speaking for the board. I thought that was one of the items in
It
the
is,
bylaws.
it is in the bylaws,
Oh,
yeah.
if you want- so if we,
I mean,
Well,
it's,
there.
Absolutely.
it'll answer the question
You-
here.
No one as a single member, as one, represents the Board of Selectmen. So whether you're,
If I came across as speaking for the board, I apologize for that. When I say that I see no reason in continuing, I'm talking about myself. Okay?
Yep.
And if somebody else would like to step in, you're more than welcome to do it. But I am not gonna disregard the taxpayers in this town, any way, shape, or form.
and I'm not suggesting that you should.
Right.
What I'm suggesting is, you're that voice.
Yep.
You need to stay engaged to remind them of the voice, right? But when you talk about not being involved, the Board of Selectmen will not be involved, you can say you as a citizen are not gonna be involved, the board will have a decision to make to replace me if you decide to do it. I think you're hurting the whole reason for that committee, the way it's been functioned. They want to hear the yay and the nays, right? They want to understand why you're against it. They want to understand what you're hearing on the street. So I suggest you stay. I just think when you're responding, it's a case of you're responding as yourself. Because you don't have any direction from this board at this point. Even if you talked about it, we didn't take a vote on it, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. With him saying he is truly representing himself at this point, because we haven't had any conversation.
Right, he clearly
But I
said
don't
Board
want
of
it to be-
Selectmen.
I don't want them to say, oh, Bob's speaking on behalf of the Board of Selectmen.
And that's hard to do. I mean, we are elected officials. We're always elected officials. The dynamics make it a little tougher, but again, I don't think you're dead set against it. I know you're against what they proposed.
Yeah.
The question now is, how much of that feedback can you help influence to get to the right answer, get to the right path forward? Whether it's a rehab, whether it's a small remake, whatever that is, I think that I've watched the meetings and I hear a lot of great dialogue, and I hear a lot of people, going back and forth and changing their minds, but then going a little harder on one side. So I think the dialogue's important. And that was one of the things I said. I think what I thought was missing for this whole process before was a collaboration with the other town leaders to see what was right for the town. Because we hear from other constituents they don't hear from, right? They're hearing from the students, the student parents and those families and all those things. But we're not hearing about the 55s and older, the elderly, the ones on fixed income. We all represent them. And that's why I said,
speak
again,
to a lot of them.
And I agree, and I wasn't saying you weren't. I'm just saying, the way it came across was the Board of Selectmen will not be involved. I don't remember what the way, but it was Board of Selectmen. It wasn't Barb Leary not gonna be involved, and I'm gonna ask the board to replace me because I can't agree with this or whatever. It was just the Board of Selectmen, and I think we all know it caused a rub on that board also because we weren't working with them. I think we need to work with the school board as much as possible because whatever they do affects the greater good of the town. And we have to live with the
And
situations.
on
So,
that note, I met the new superintendent, and I spoke with him, he seems like a very nice guy. I offered to have him and the school board chair, as well as Ms. Kleiner and myself, sit down at some point and start to open that line of communication.
it's great.
I would like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I
It needs to be
believe,
there.
I believe we should all work together, but I also know that because we operate independently, that we should not influence them and they should not influence us, but we should be aware of what's going on both ends.
We need to share what we know,
Yeah.
right, and why we know, and represent the constituents that are not part of the school board, right? They don't have
Yeah.
representation.
And we also need to know what's going on because you've said it multiple times, we're gonna be the ones writing that check.
Yeah.
So we need to understand
But also,
how we're
Just
getting
wrote
it.
one for 1.6 million tonight,
yeah,
right?
and everything they do, it impacts our ability to do things that are in our priority list too, right? Because we don't want to impact the tax base.
And you're definitely an advocate for and a good one, for your point of view. Selectmen's rep on that board though, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
so I say keep being passionate the way you like, but you just have to separate and say I versus the board. Can you do that?
Yes, you can.
I know
Yes,
it's
you
hard because
can.
he's very passionate about it.
Tall task.
I think.
And we can
maybe-
send the flip side of
maybe
the
you
other
can think
person
of
in
it.
who's
I'll
totally
make
for it,
this
right?
public statement. Moving forward, if I make a statement, it is on my own behalf, not on this board's.
We give him a call or.
Just put it on his shirt.
Oh, because you'll electrify it.
I'll be sitting back at home going.
But you
I mean,
all-
yes.
You all have a much more difficult job, because as the governing body for the town, you represent all
Right.
of the voters, all of the residents. That means those that voted for the school as well.
Right.
And I think that there's a lot of good discussion, like John said, on that committee. And let's see where it goes. See where it goes.
And I think if something comes up that should be discussed at our level and get a sort of direction, I think it needs to come forward, so.
And you definitely need, I'm glad you're there with your point, because if you had just 15 people walking in the same direction, why even have a committee?
And that's what it was before.
Right.
That's exactly what it was before.
I think, honestly, I think the committee's too big, there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of,
Well,
there's a lot of voices.
There's a lot of voices, but there's only gonna be 10 voting members.
Okay,
So, and we've made I'll call them bylaws. You have to be at so many meetings to even be considered for a voting member. So we just don't want somebody showing up at the end and
yeah,
putting a vote in.
all right, I like it.
And there'll also be two chairs. There'll be a co-chair. There'll be a school board member, one of the two, and there will be a non-school member, will be the co-chair. So, I felt the last meeting was actually good. I was gonna get to that later, but
I
it
did too.
also gets heated.
Yeah.
And the gentleman that was going around the room with me, we sat and talked for 10 minutes after. So it was quite interesting.
Thank you for being on that board, Bob.
Definitely.
I'll back out anytime.
Definitely don't.
I don't want you to back out, just I versus we.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. I stand corrected, or I sit corrected.
So that was it.
I'm a big
Simple
boy. I
enough.
can take it. Huh?
That's all it was,
Very good.
so, Memorial Day.
So you don't want to replace me?
No.
No. I have to be here at 5 o'clock all the time anyway, but no.
All right, approval, special event permit, Memorial Day Parade.
So Mr. Callowell from the Historical Society met with both chiefs, the highway department and myself. We filed the permit with the state, and we're waiting back for that. But, we see no reason in not approving the Memorial Day Parade. This is a town-sponsored, and we do work with the Historical Society. There's no additional staff other than the staff that's participating in the parade and the police that are assisting.
Very good.
Someone,
It's been going on, everyone knows this one, it's the one that's going on for forever in this town, so.
I'll make a motion to approve the special events permit for the Memorial Day Parade on Memorial Day, 5/27 from 9:50 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. from McEllen Drive to Pinecrest to CBH to Old Stage Road.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Gannon and a second from Mr. Brunel. And it's gonna be quite a thing this year. There's gonna be a remembrance of D-Day. It's the 80th anniversary, so. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. Up next, we have proposed Board of Selectmen bylaws as amended.
so the major change to this was some wordsmithing and the addition of correspondence, which I did not do for this meeting, but if this passes, I will start next meeting, preparing a list with correspondence with the date, the sender, the title, and we will read that into the record. I think that this is a very positive move for the board. Terry and I have been receiving in, you ask this of all your boards and commissions to do this, and so we receive them every year. They have to review them and revote them, and I think the board not having their own is,
It's long overdue.
Well, I think the problem, we have one, it's just no one can find it.
What was that?
missing.
We've had one, it's just no one can find the
Oh, it's
original
missing,
copy,
okay.
yes.
I don't ever remember there being one.
You can see it referenced in a lot of minutes,
Yeah, can
and
you?
it was modified up and updated, and it just never got filed in the clerk's office. And unfortunately, the office administrator that was doing it is no longer here, so.
Well, we will make sure they get filed this time.
No, it's electronic now, it can't get lost.
so there forever.
So we need a motion for approval, unless, well, we'll actually do discussion after.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve the bylaws as presented and amended.
I'll second it.
We have a motion from Mr. Brunel, a second from Mr. Gannon, and discussion.
Okay.
All right.
Go up to the top. I said 1D, I like that. Article 1, Section D.
Wait a minute.
Kim, and you're reading the ones, you're reading the amended version, right? There's two versions on the
Yeah,
board.
Which
there's-
one, the one on the
Yes.
right or the left?
The right.
Right,
That's the one I
The
opened.
right is amended?
yeah.
Oh, let's make sure it matches my notes from earlier then.
Okay.
I said I like that. The Board of Selectmen may waive these rules or procedures contained herein when the board deems appropriate in case, right? That's the
Need
way.
to vote by the
Right,
entire board.
but that's good in case, you know,
Majority.
we hit something we didn't expect, right? 1D,
Was it one?
Article 1D,
Mm-hmm.
so that was good. I thought Article 2, Section number 3, I just thought it
Section
kind of,
C?
go to Article 2,
Yeah.
3.
Two.
It just seemed like there was no sentence there.
Voting of the approval of a meeting schedule?
Yeah.
Is that what you got?
Yeah, I don't know if that's a sentence that's
3.
missing anything,
Section 2, D3.
unless it's part of, oh, I see, it's part of D. I thought it was by itself.
What?
Voting the approval of a meeting schedule. So Article 2,
D, the first meeting of the Board of Selectmen, and then it's section number 3.
Oh, yeah, that's confusing.
but I think if
it's
it
the way
goes
the-
with D
Voting of the
above,
approval
It-
of a meeting.
Okay, so 1 through 5 goes with D then.
so maybe if it goes with
Yes.
D, it's
Okay.
kind of okay being not a half, like a half
Okay.
sentence? Is that okay like that, or does it need anything else?
Voting of the approval of a meeting schedule.
Is that like comma with 2 and comma with
Oh,
1?
maybe the voting
I don't know, it just looked like not even a whole sentence.
and approval of a meeting schedule.
It could go with it
Maybe just
without
Voting
it.
of the approval of a meeting schedule,
Yeah, 'cause-
confirmation of the
Because
schedule.
don't we
Means
do,
you
we
have
do a
to
tentative
approve a
schedule?
meeting
Yeah,
schedule.
we do a tentative schedule every year.
It just
Yeah,
looked like half
so-
a sentence to me, but if it's, now if I'm looking at if it's comma with number 2 and 1,
Yeah,
It does fit with D.
it is a
So
little
it's D.
confusing.
Yeah,
It's a
All right, so it's
continuation.
not a half sentence that I just was
No,
looking at.
no,
going,
it's part of the
All right.
above, no,
It's legal mumbo jumbo.
all right.
yeah, right.
All right, so this is, let me see, 4 and 8. I just wanted to make sure I understood 4 and 8, and then I'm
4
okay.
and 8.
Where we, let's go up to number 4.
I don't know, this was,
Meeting.
I think it was let me go to Article 3, Section 8 first.
I'm sorry.
And that was the chain of command of the building, of the, town admin.
3.
So Article 3, my goodness.
We're going to C, primary duties, section 8,
Right.
separation of duties.
Yeah, so it's right above Article 4 meetings. It's at Article 3, number 8.
Yeah.
So this is good. This means if there's an issue with a subordinate or something of you, we go through you, right? I want to make sure, because so town admin, right? Separation of duties. Members shall recognize the administrative chain of command by directing questions, complaints, all the way to the administrator. Members can expect to be notified of serious incidents promptly.
Yep.
So that's okay, stand alone. But I just want to make sure, where's number 4? Yeah,
Well-
number 4 above. See 4 and 8? I just want to make
No.
sure what the actual chain of command is. Number 4, although the Board of Selectmen has historically delegated many of its responsibilities to staff members
Yeah.
with expertise and qualifications, right? Which obviously Kim and everyone else, right? It is important to note that nothing herein is intended to imply that the Board of Selectmen cannot assume control over its obligations, should it also be understood. We have the final say. So basically, I just want to make sure. So a subordinate that works for you, right?
Yeah.
Do we go through you first? I think we would anyway,
So-
out of professionalism, but I just want to make sure who has the ultimate authority on somebody who works for you.
So 4 is stating that, you have a highway, so I'm just using this as an example. You have a highway agent. And he is responsible for the day-to-day and maintenance of the roads. But by RSA, that lies with this board. You delegating that responsibility to him does not take away your authority
Yep.
by state statute to do that. So you're not delegating that state law, that work of that
Yep.
state law. That's all the board does. And you typically see it because it's protecting the Board of Selectmen from someone saying
Yep.
that you are shirking your responsibilities in layman terms. 8, and I don't think we've had a problem. I think we work tremendous together, and I think the staff and I'm very thankful the staff and I and the staff and you all work wonderful together. There's nothing to say in 8 that it's, it's a Saturday, I'm not here, you're not probably gonna call me. You've got something that needs to go be picked up in the road and it's you call Kevin. I mean, the road agent. I mean, this is a give and take. What this is trying to prevent is, and this is not the situation we have here, but a selectman member always going to the staff versus the town administrator, and then holding the town administrator responsible for not knowing what's going on. And that has happened in other municipalities where, how would the town administrator know that you called X, Y, or Z?
Yep.
Right? Or how would they know that situation? That's really what that's to prevent. But I think we all work so well together that,
Yeah, I understand that should be there. I'm just saying hierarchical-wise, and again, just an example, if there was an employee who worked for you and you had a difference of opinion than the board did, who would have ultimate say?
The board.
board,
Okay, that's what
The
I wanted to
board's
see.
the employer.
Who had the chain of command? It was mentioned here. So 8 maybe need a little clarification that if we bypass you in an emergency, I get that, you're not here.
Yep.
All right, but at the end of the day, 4 is higher than town admin. Just wanted to make
Yes.
sure of that, because there could be differences of opinion, right? It could be 4 people versus town admin.
So always
Always
remember,
follow the
the
law.
Board of Selectmen is the employer board. I am not the employer,
I just wanted to make sure of that hierarchy, that's all.
just a supervisor.
And the normal chain of command would
Just
be,
a
would be the workers, whoever the workers may be, going to their supervisor,
Right.
who may be the department head, or it might just be the supervisor. And then if they're not satisfied, then going to Kim.
Right.
And still not satisfied, going to us.
Yeah.
So,
That's fair.
Yep.
You're
Let
the
it work
high-
its way up
You're
the
the
chain of
high- right.
command.
Now, I do know that in a department in this town, and this is recently, that members would call myself because they were having trouble with their supervisor. They didn't feel like their supervisor was listening to them, hearing their needs, and they would call me. And then they were told promptly not to ever talk to the selectmen again.
Not by me.
Huh?
No,
No, it was
maybe-
not, no, it was
Oh,
not you.
gosh.
No, it was
So you're
not
saying
you.
that scenario, they
It was,
jumped
it was a department
up, all right.
that was in turmoil, so, and there was a lot going on. And we've always, this board, as long as I've been on, has always maintained an open policy that anybody can talk to us anytime. Now, my first thing is always discuss this with your supervisor.
Yep.
But if they're not feeling like they're being heard, they always have the right to come to us, any one of us.
Skip Levitt.
And we'll always talk to the rest of the board. So, well, it's important that everyone knows that, you know, if they don't feel comfortable talking to their next, they can go to Kim, they can come to us. Okay, we'll always listen, right? Right? No, you're giving me looks tonight.
And I'm sorry, I'm
I
not
feel like my
meaning
mother's
to.
sitting over there, and she's young, and you're younger than I am.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I don't think we have any issues. I think we work very well together.
Yeah, I think the environment here now is just phenomenal. So, and we thank everybody for that. Okay, so we need a motion to accept these.
Didn't we already make the motion? We just
Oh, it's
talked
on
about
the
Did you?
floor.
Oh, yeah, you guys made 1 and 2.
Yep,
So
1 and
there's
2.
no changes really, right? That wasn't a weird
No.
sentence in the middle, right? And you explained the hierarchy, all of that.
And
Yep.
after long thought, in the future, I will reflect this board's wishes when going to the budget committee, with the caveat that I will say that I personally voted against it, if I did, and this board supported it.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna pop it out.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Perfect.
It's in there somewhere anyway.
It was actually at the training I went to, that was actually a topic.
Yeah.
Somebody brought it up about when you're on a board, how do you represent that board? And they told them, as a member of that board, you represent that board. If you vote no and everybody votes yes, you go to that meeting and you say the board voted yes. And then you're free to say, but I object, I vote no still.
Okay,
But
I'm okay with that. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion, all those opposed? Motion carries 400. Up next, approval contract with George Sansuzi. Ms. Kleiner.
So, this came up, so if you've noticed, down below, I have the MS1, and we'll talk a little bit about valuations and where they're coming out. What has happened over the past few years is, according to House Bill 700, there's kind of been a devaluation of utilities.
Okay,
And because utilities, Eversource, Panachuk, Liberty, because they represent so much land within Litchfield, we really need to make sure that they are assessed by a trained professional. This is a very specialized function, and quite often you will see that municipalities contract separately for this. Mr. Sansucci does the majority, probably, of municipalities, within New Hampshire. He has been the authoritative expert all over the country. What we're asking for him to do, and one of the reasons that we felt that this was important, was the expert that was working with Avatar has retired. The utility work was being billed for utilities separate from your Avatar contract anyways. So, we're just engaging a different individual on a separate contract.
Yep.
And we really need to know going forward, what these utilities have for structures and what the value of them is. This is a part of the tax base that will take either some taxes off of your residential, or what's happened over the past few years is you've passed it off onto your residential because their assessments have been lowered. It does not come without a cost. We will find, we've looked and seen that there's some other places in the budget that will be lower this year just due to positions not being filled and things of that sort. And the assessing line will be over because it will be charged to the assessing line. He will, for that 33.5 a year, he will do the revaluation of those utilities. That requires, because this is an assessing contract, it requires for it to go to the New Hampshire Department of Revenue for them to look it over, which it did, and they sent the letter below, blessing the contract, and ensuring that it has all of the pieces that are required. Our hope is to get the information over to Mr. Sansucci, although I will tell you, because he does all of the surrounding towns, he already has a lot of the information for what is already in Litchfield. So, but we wanna get him off and running, cause we'll need those numbers by September 1st for the MS1. I have, in full disclosure, I have worked with Mr. Sansucci in the past, and I fully trust his expertise. He will also assist should any of the utilities question and file for abatement.
So I have two questions. One, if we were paying our assessor already to do this and they weren't doing the work, do we get some kind of kickback?
We already heard that answer.
So, the Avatar contract read that utility work would be billed separately
Oh, yeah, that's right.
from their contract. And that's one of my initial concerns is utility appraisal, is expensive. And it's a very specialized function. And the amount that Avatar was billing us was quite low for
To
the amount of
signify
work
that they
it
were
should really
engaged.
require.
And then the second one, 33.5 per year seems pretty low for what he's gonna do. Do you think we'll be able to recoup some of those costs quickly from
That is our hope.
that as a hope?
I think this is a good first step.
I think if anyone can do it, it's Mr. Sansucci.
I think this is the first good step in where we wanna go with
Yeah.
what we wanna do in addressing.
We don't know, we gotta figure it out, so.
Correct.
Right.
Cause we get that number, then we can move forward with, what we want, what we're looking to do down the road. So,
You mentioned MS1,
Yes.
and I'm getting confused with MS4, which
Would
I
you
know
like
that's
me to-
water runoff, but
I
the
mean, if
MS1,
you'd like, I can tackle that, cause it kinda, or
It's
I-
in the-
it's up
it's
to
in
you
here
if
as
you
your
wanna take
last-
this motion, and we can talk about that
said you'll
separately.
use it for the
Okay.
MS1. I just wanna know what MS1 was, but if you wanna postpone that, that's
so you-
MS1 is evaluation of the town.
evaluation, okay,
Yeah.
I'm thinking MS4 lately, sorry, with the waters and the runoffs.
that's Kevin.
I know, that's it. That's NRPC too.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve this contract. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with George E. Sansucci, P.E. LLC, DBA Sansucci Associates for 24 through 2029 for a fixed fee of $33,500 per year.
Second.
we have a motion from Mr. Gannon, a second from Mr. Brennan, and I will just like to amend that to say, for the purpose of, huh?
Brunel.
Oh, shit, what'd I say?
Brennan. I
I
do
think I
respect, but
just-
still,
And to make matters worse, I think I just said a potty word.
you did. We'll bleep it out. No.
The amendment for the reevaluation of all taxable utility property in the town of Litchfield not currently subject to any settlement agreements or pilots. Okay, that way, everybody watching at home knows why we're doing this. Okay? Is that okay?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. And I apologize. All right, up next, we have Civic Ready Mass Notification System. Ms. Kleiner?
So I'll start, and I'm sure Selectman Brunel can help me with anything I've forgotten. So Civic Ready is the mass notification system that comes with your new website. So from Civic Plus, it's actually an add-on. And we are working, there's a number of us that are administrators of that platform, Mr. Brunel, myself, and the two chiefs, and then kind of a lower admin, Captain Hubbard. We've been working with Civic Plus kind of separately from the website at this point to get the system up and running. And we're at a good point. We're at a point where we need to start marketing the sign up of this to our residents. So what I included in your portal is the directions specifically kind of laid out for Litchfield on how to sign up.
Okay.
One of the benefits of this system versus, say, the Code Red system, or even the state system that we get free and have signed up just to be able to use, is you can actually choose what type of notifications you would like to receive, right down to, I would like to know when the Board of Selectmen meetings are. I would like to get the town newsletter. I would like to, get regular updates on X, Y, or Z. So it's not just emergencies. You can get weather-related emergencies, you can get road closures, and they can customize their account. So once they create an account, they can go in, they can modify it, they are in control of what they receive. But in order to do this, we have to get our residents to sign up. This cannot be transferred over from the Code Red signups to the new system.
Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah,
Oh, God, I answered it.
they don't allow us to do that, so.
Because, I started getting Code Red, and I'd never signed up for it. I get it on
Really?
my cell phone, my house phone, yeah.
You probably could add it when you became a selectman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you too? Yep, okay.
Good answer.
I assume that's how it happened.
I don't know, I thought it was Big
I
Brother.
got it.
I get them as well.
Yeah.
So you actually have to sign up.
They
for
have to
this.
opt, they have
You
to
do
opt,
have to
they have to
opt
opt into it,
You
yeah.
have to opt in. So how do we get this out to the community?
So working with John, we'll do some social media campaigns, and it's like any other getting people to sign up, whether it's getting them to like the website or the Facebook or any that, it's always a challenge.
Yeah.
But we wanted to start really making a concerted effort. And Civic Ready does have some pre-canned marketing, that we can use. Sometimes I think ours is a little bit more creative, but,
Now, if somebody comes to register their car or pay their taxes, can they sign up here, or do they have to
We'll
go
have-
online, or?
yeah.
They can, okay.
Good idea.
We
Because
thought about
everybody-
putting a QR code where they can use their phone and do it, or they can fill out a form and they can.
I'm thinking more of the people that aren't that technologically advanced, that don't do the email or the online stuff, or,
Yeah, they really, if we have something that they have signed to say that they
Yep.
want, they really prefer,
Mhm.
that the residents do it themselves.
yeah,
But nothing to say that we could certainly walk them through it.
yeah. And let's try to help those that need the help, and there may be some sitting in this room right here, but we're not gonna mention
And,
names.
and I'll tell you, it's really, it's nice. I still, to my email, don't particularly know why, but I still receive from my past municipality notifications of, and they can be pretty detailed, like, budget committee's gonna discuss the proposed budget and tax rate tonight. Well,
Are you keeping your options open, or what?
maybe I wanna know what my tax rate's gonna be. I don't know.
I think what else is nice is it's interactive with the website too. So if you have a large notification, it can be banded on automatically, so.
Is the website up and running? Are we good now, or
Our website's gonna come out the 30th.
the 30th, knock on wood?
And it is, it's looking nice. It's
Yeah.
really looking good. So, we have training
Mm-hmm.
in this room, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday for the staff. So Donna and Joan and I and John, a member of police, a member of fire, a member of Terry's group. We've all been designated to handle specific pages. So,
So, can somebody put that, like, say on laptop? Can you go on there and then like save it as a favorite, so you can just go click it and get on, or is it something you have to sign into all the time, or?
The website's public, so you can save it as a tab.
So you can save it as a.
Or a
tab.
shortcut, what do you want?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Shortcut, let's see.
But then what'll happen is you sign up for it too though, right? So you
You
can.
can sign up for it too,
You
yeah.
can customize it. So, like most websites, the current website, if you go to, you could just see what's being put out there. With the new website, you could create an account to get in there, and then you could say, I wanna see your preferences. You
Yeah.
can pick and choose what you wanna see.
You can get your push notifications and stuff.
I'd be just happy if I could turn it on. Okay. John will help me with that when he gets rid of all these tabs. Cause I must have probably 75 up
I
there.
don't know, they're very small. It's a lot there.
So,
But we'd like your permission to allow us to just start the marketing campaign.
how's everybody feel?
Just gotta find it.
Kim, fellow IT person?
I am for it.
I'm like surrounded by you guys tonight.
Hey, I make a motion to approve the marketing and public sign-up campaign for the Civic Ready Mass Notification System.
We have a motion from Mr. Gannon,
Second.
second from Ms. Queenie. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Abstained, one. It's IT. Or it could be screwed that way, so it's
Yeah.
screwed that way.
0-1, yep.
I'm just gonna keep it safe.
Okay, motion carries 3-0-1. Very good.
We'll work on that.
We look forward to this moving forward. I might even learn something. Kim, don't laugh. All right, up next, we have the approval of the 2025 budget schedule. A little early for the budget.
I know. I went through and checked all the dates.
Yep.
So again, we moved it. You don't have your first one until August 19th.
Yep.
No meeting the 7th. No, scratch that. Then
Yep.
there's one date,
The 19th, okay, first review.
right,
That's
so we were supposed to have it 8/12.
Yep.
Your meeting.
Yep.
And we moved that, because we don't have finance staff here,
Oh, good, and I might be
So-
out of town that week.
to 8/19. And then 8/26, there'll be no budget. If there's not a heavy agenda, we will cancel that meeting. And then you'll pick up your second review on 9/9.
Okay,
And so the intention is that we will only have 2 nights of review for budget. But I think if we handle this correctly and we are only bringing to you changes
Yep.
in the budget, and we'll have a summary document to you
Yep.
well before the 19th for you to look at. And then the budget committee didn't change any of their dates. Their dates are all the same.
Yep.
They still felt they wanted to start voting on the 24th. So I'm just gonna put you on notice that,
yeah, they're not gonna vote on the 17th, I don't think. I think we felt we could get it all done in one night. Because we had the 17th and the 24th.
Yes.
And you had asked not to do it on the 17th.
right,
Hopefully I'm not overstating that.
I think they decided they were going to start.
Or they could start with some of the items, but
Yeah,
again, yeah, and I agree with you, if something changes, then we've gotta go through the whole process again.
right. I mean, especially with healthcare and insurance, it
and
could
that's the big one,
impact so
yeah.
many other things,
Yes.
but, the hard part for us is we can't go to the budget committee
Mhm.
and with a budget that hasn't been approved by the selectmen, so if something changes, we need to call a board of selectmen meeting, inform you of the change, because insurance came in, for example, and we want your blessing on this, so that we can go to budget and say the selectmen have
Well,
put forth this.
I think, haven't we done it in the past where we've gone to budget and we've said that we're expecting changes and that we may have to revote some items?
Yes,
Yeah.
we
So
have,
yeah. So we do have that option. Obviously, we'd like to have it all set, but
yeah,
if we
we
don't,
just
then,
won't.
yeah,
So, and
and there's nothing we can do about that. That's the way the insurance comes in, you know.
that's right, it's still very volatile.
Yep.
Situation with healthcare.
Agreed, yep. And you know, if we can get most things kind of where we think they are in worst case scenario in insurance like you did last year, that actually worked out pretty good.
So, they're all in there, I think I've
Yep.
got the dates right.
Yep. Yep.
And so if you, we'll give you a final approval, then I will mark approved and send out to the department heads.
I think preliminary approvals, I'm good with it. What does everybody else think?
Good.
Yeah.
You need a motion? Nope,
You need a
okay.
motion for that? Yeah, oh, yeah.
All right, I make a motion to approve the 2025 Board of Selectmen budget schedule as discussed. Or
Second.
As presented.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Gannon and a second from Mr. Brunel.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 400. Item 14, internal board and committee requests. What do we got here?
PTA report.
No, it just says internal board and committee requests.
Oh, now I know what it's about. So I just want to bring up about a year ago, I think it was, the board requested an internal request system for committees and board members and staff to make requests of other departments and other services. It's shown little to no usage at all. And I know recently you received a request from Judy Brennan for something.
Trash bags, yeah.
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 That's a clear use for that, right? She,
Yeah.
it's open to her to be able to log into it, make that request to the highway department, or whoever the department was. So I guess my question is, and it's really an IT question, so I'm not gonna vote on this, but,
Is it IT?
yeah, I
Is it just in
created it, well, I created the form,
Oh.
so if we're not gonna use it, I wanna shut it off, but if we're gonna enforce is probably the wrong way to say it, but encourage our staff to use it, I think we need to also do the same thing, right? If Judy calls somebody, or somebody calls you or I, or somebody, we need to direct them to that form versus making phone calls and sending emails. Cause it gets lost in the
Is that
translation.
that internal work order
I,
system?
yes, so I mean, I came forth to the board over a year ago, I mean, not all of you were here, but, and stressed how important this was for us to be able to track.
Yep.
Especially for budget purposes, and I think it was right after my first budget cycle had ended with the budget committee, and the board approved the form. I mean, it was voted on, it was approved.
Yep.
John did all the design of the form, which sits on our internal portal. I think we've sent out 3-4 emails to people showing them where the form sits. I think there is some, I don't know, it's hard for budget or for committee members and board members, when they go to the intra portal, they can't do it unless they've logged in using their Litchfield address.
Yeah, just like the sign
And I
their
think
email.
that is causing a lot of concern, cause I don't think our board members do it. Like, I've found there's been several, committee members that have reached out to me about other things, and I've said, well, did you check your Litchfield NH email? I mean, we're not sending stuff, town business should reside on town systems, always.
Correct.
And so I think they're not logging in, because then they're contacting me and telling me, well, I can't get into the form. I can't get into the form.
Wasn't it on the website, like one of the major links on the top?
It
No.
wasn't.
Or is that a different item?
That was the, complaint form.
Yes,
From the
okay,
public.
separate one, you're right, gotcha. Is that one being used?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Good, we don't hear any.
No, we get
No, we get 'em.
plenty.
We get 'em.
It was combined complaints and inquiries, and there's a lot of.
Mailboxes.
Yeah. Winter's the high
Plowing.
number, right?
Yep. Okay.
Um,
Can we make that a link on the
Well,
website?
the reason why it wasn't is because it's really internal only, and you didn't want a resident
okay.
making a request of the highway department to do something, right?
Yeah.
That's what that complaint or inquiry form was.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean,
maybe another email to all board and committee members to start using it?
I sent the last one 2 weeks ago, but I will be happy to do it again.
Oh, I
I'd
didn't- I
like a
didn't
little
read it,
bit
so-
more teeth.
Do what you feel is right. I'll back you. Everybody can speak for themselves, but I say do what you need to do. It should be used.
and if you're interested in what an employee or employee needs to see, if you go to townhall.litchfieldnh.gov, you'll get prompted, if you're not logged in, you'll get prompted to log in, you log in your town credentials, you'll see exactly what they're saying. And that's a landing page for a lot of other information too, a lot of stuff we reuse all the time, but one of the links is the request, the internal request form.
So that's where they'll come up if they punch that in.
Yep.
Yeah, that's an internal.
Yep.
title for- We've been doing great, putting
Where is it on
CIP.
that?
It's right here, internal
Okay.
work order,
Okay,
try to have the quick links.
okay, quick links, internal web order,
But I
okay.
think it's hard because it's hard for our staff. They get a call, they get a text, they get an email, they
Mhm.
they want to assist, that's part of
Mhm.
their nature.
Yep.
And here I am saying, don't do it unless there's been a work order.
I work in IT and I'm always saying you have to open a ticket.
Have to.
You have to open a ticket. Don't stop me in the hallway because I'm gonna forget. And if you want me to track it and know what's going on, open a ticket. And people still don't. It's the same scenario. It's It's difficult to break that till you start ignoring them, and then they know.
It's true.
She's just sitting there nodding
It's
her head.
absolutely true.
Yep,
Yeah.
Because
yep,
you
yep.
are, you're doing 50 things that day, right? And the fires,
Yeah,
first the
yeah.
fires, then you deal with your job, yeah.
Yeah, I always tell email so I can flag it, a text so I can flag it, or something if I was like, otherwise, if you tell me in the hallway, I'm not gonna remember it.
Right,
No.
As
exactly.
soon as I leave this building, I purge my brain and I'm off to something else.
And there is a nice system on, the new website, that will allow complaint comes in from the public, highway can track them, or whatever department can track them and respond back and forth with the resident, and there's a nice work order system.
Yeah, the intent is to replace the complaint inquiry form with, and also its internal one with that click 311, I think is what it's
Yeah.
called. That's sort of,
See, click fix.
yeah, that's sort of down the. like,
Yeah, we
a
haven't
few-
started
A
that.
few months down the road after we get the website up and running, because we still, even
That'd be
after the
good.
website gets published and ready to go,
Then they go to
We
one
have a
place.
lot
still
of
have a lot of
content.
content to move over that
Oh,
hasn't
yeah,
been moved over.
it's a big one.
I mean, it's gonna have the first few months of your minutes, few months of budgets minutes. We've still gotta upload all that historical data, so, but, alright, I'll send another email.
You notice how
Be
when you guys,
pleasantly firm.
when you guys all started talking IT, I just slid my chair to the back, right? I know when I'm out of my league.
Call this
Let the
budget
professionals handle it.
Call this budget more than anything else, it's really about. value.
Okay, so you'll take care of that.
Wow,
Okay.
this looks all
Perfect.
stuff on here.
Was that?
Yeah, it's formatted kinda wacky.
Yeah,
And we have one item before town administrator reports that you wanted, that you added? Did we already discuss that?
We already discussed
Okay, I
that.
just wanna make sure we didn't forget
Yeah,
about
that
it.
was the sign.
The signage, okay. Application for use sign, okay. And that was part of their request, okay. Up next, we have town administrator and selectmen reports.
okay, well, I apologize for the formatting of this, if you're looking online. I think we've just discussed the website ad nauseum, so I
Yep.
won't go over that again, except to
Yep.
say, please bear with us, cause we're gonna have staff, in the training, we just gotta get the training over. And sorry, my system. April's reports from trustees of the trust funds are on the portal below. The expendable trust total, $1,586,222 and change. Donated funds totaling $104,297 at the end of April.
Now, the expendable trust is different from the unassigned fund balance for the people watching at home. So
Yes,
can
so
you,
your expendable trusts are, like the new recreation.
rec one, yep, and,
And the,
Yep.
I'm trying to, IT, and
Yep.
the public, the DPW,
yeah. Now, does that include the school expendable trusts, or are they separate?
they're separate.
They're separate, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but the donated funds do contain some school scholarships that the
Yep.
trustees manage.
Yep.
Then, so there's an update, from the chief, which he gave me before he left. This was just giving you some information that on May 4th and 5th, the Londonderry, CERT team volunteered their time, taught CPR, EAD, Stop the Bleed, which Selectman Gannon all noted. Everyone worked well together. Captain Jason Hubbard and retired Deputy Chief John Travis have been appointed by the chief as directors of Litchfield CERT. They'll oversee the team and be in charge of running the trainings. But still, the team can only be activated by the chief. And so he wanted to publicly thank Remy Fortin and Al Spike, is that how you say it? of Londonderry Alert who donated to each member of CERT a backpack filled with the necessary equipment, helmet, safety goggles, and flashlights. 24 backpacks with a value of $65 each were donated.
Thank you. That was really good.
Very nice. So the team still requires additional equipment, which we've talked about, and we're tracking that, but I think we can do it well within the budget. Some people who have attended the 3 previous meetings couldn't attend the weekend training, so he's hoping to get them in the one that Londonderry will hold in the fall. Then 11 people were certified as flaggers, did not attend this weekend, but he's hoping they can get them in the future.
Cool.
And then they have a June meeting, which they will roll out their standard operating procedures. And so we did cover the food for that weekend, and it was approximately $425. There is an additional cost for the certifications. We're working with state emergency management to see if we can pick up a grant. So, Doug is actively speaking with them. The MS1 update. So when the first issue of the tax bills comes out, this is always the time I look at the MS1, which is preliminary at this point, right? Because it's filed September 1st. So we looked at it, and the assessors have picked up changes to properties. Certainly there's could be some more, but remember, this MS1 is any changes as of April 1st, and April 1st is already passed. Not to say that they won't have other changes that are the result of building permits and things of that sort, which can be picked up. So there'll be some change. The town picked up $7 million in value, which is great. $5,425,000 of that is commercial, which is phenomenal.
Really?
Where?
Because when you have units over 4, that's commercial property.
Oh,
when it's
so rent,
rentable.
okay, gotcha,
So if you're talking down here and you're talking up
Yep.
there, those are commercial.
gotcha.
And then another 1.7 in residential. And so what does that do? So when we were putting together your budget last year, we have to use a number that we, estimate a number that we think your valuation's gonna go to in order to estimate the tax cap. Because the prior year was so dismal from 22 to 23, we went really low for 24. We only estimated 2 million in changes. So this is fabulous, because this is gonna push that tax rate down. If it stayed the way it is, you're probably losing a couple cents on the tax rate from what was determined at, town meeting. So we'll see where it comes. This is a swing that we really like to see. We expect to see more next year, with the more of a completion of Dairy Road. So that's a good thing. It's a really good thing. Staff. So all of our staff is amazing, and we're a great team. I'm happy to say that Pat is staying probably till the end of the month while we fill her position. I keep hearing from residents how much they'll miss her, and I will too. There are 2 staff members that I'd especially like to thank, Donna Burrell and Heather Snyman. So Heather's our bookkeeper, and Donna is your assistant at the window here. Heather is tracking most of the costs. You name a cost, she's tracking it. And this is to help us with, future planning. And this is CERT, this is stormwater, utility, contracts, rec costs, porta potties, you name it, Heather's tracking it. Because our accounting software is limited. And I think that in the future, that is something that we have to address. There should be a much easier way without a lot of manual calculations and spreadsheets for Heather to manage. Not that she has ever complained, she's a phenomenal employee.
One thought.
Yeah.
If we are gonna consider an accounting package upgrade, we should probably pull payroll back into that. Because ultimately, the path was potentially continue the path we were going, but there's been some changes there, and I'm not sure that that's the right decision at this point. So, we have to go out and evaluate it, and there's only so many people that play
Right.
in this New Hampshire state, so, for some of the things we have to have, so, I don't know.
Yeah, it's always tough, and, I mean, our current has been the long time leader. Maybe even moving to their new platform, but I haven't heard totally positive results on that either, but, it's definitely an area that we should kind of keep in the back of our minds that needs to be addressed. Donna has really stepped up since the loss of Jeff Blackwell. She's assisting contractors and scheduling, Peter Rowell, she's managing the zoning applications, preparing their portal, all while doing her normal duties every day.
Yep.
I'd like to ask people to be pleasant to her. It's not her fault that we don't have a building inspector. There's been a few times that in recent days that people have been not so nice.
That's unacceptable. I mean, these poor girls
not
are doing
her
their
fault.
job. Yeah, it's not her fault at all. And the people need to take a chill before they come in.
And I think we're working as much as we can, and we understand they have projects, and we're trying very hard to meet everyone's deadlines.
Only do what you can do.
On the building inspector, we have 3 applications, just to put that out there, that we'll discuss, later on tonight.
Okay.
And I'm hopeful, I'm really hopeful that we can have someone in place before July. The county budget, so here's an issue. We've received their proposed, 2025 county budget. I've put it down below. There are still public hearings to come on this. And we received the modified assessment from the New Hampshire DRA. The modified assessment is like your MS1 modified. And it's really, that modification's really only used to compare Litchfield to other municipalities so that they can determine the allocation of the county budget.
Okay.
So, I'm looking back and preparing kind of an analysis so that we can better determine what the county budget's how it's gonna impact our overall tax rate. So more to come on that, but they estimate that if their proposed budget passes, it translates into about $38.57 per household, more, or 11 cents on their tax rate. And so that seems odd to me, but I wanna look at it more. And I just received these, I think Thursday. Financial audit, so our auditors, Markham, will be in the office, it's actually starting tomorrow. Karen White will be their primary contact, but there's a number of, individuals that assist, Carrie, John, Heather, myself. We'll keep you informed as the audit's going on if there's any potential problems. The New Hampshire Office of Planning and Development had their planning and zoning conference, this past weekend. There were a few of us from Litchfield. It was Saturday, and it was virtual. So a few of us were on the planning, and then I believe there was one on the zoning. A lot of good best practices that we don't necessarily have in place right now. And Joan and I already started discussing them this morning. So we'll start working on some of these best practices and bring them to the planning board to see how maybe we can just tighten up things, set expectations. Today, I attended a leadership meeting at Manchester City Hall. And so, Mayor, and I can't pronounce it right, you said it and I can't.
Rose?
Ruiz.
He was very, very nice. He invited the town managers and administrators from Londonderry, Bedford, Goffstown, Auburn, and Hooksett to City Hall, and we kind of just had an informal discussion on different challenges our communities are facing, ways we can communicate, and how we want to communicate going forward. It was some really good conversation, and it's very interesting to see that other communities face the same challenges that we do. The mayor was, I think, very forthcoming with offering Manchester's assistance, should we need any from the city. And that is it.
All right. Anybody have any questions? All right, up next, we will have Selectmen reports, Recreation Commission and Heritage Commission. Mr. Gannon. Hey, it's updated. Nice job.
Recreation. we
She
actually-
wasn't gonna take the abuse twice.
Yeah,
It's been taking it since March.
3 times.
recreation, we have a meeting tomorrow. And also this weekend, softball has a tournament going on,
They do.
big tournament. And then Sunday is the fishing, Saturday is the fishing derby. That's combination rec and conservation. Heritage, we meet, I think Thursday, Wednesday, we just changed the date. And I think we're gonna be discussing, the final discussion on Dark Hole, and then there was another one that came in next to Lobster Boat, that old building across from.
Yep.
They're gonna tear that down, it's over 60 years old, so they got a notification of that. I thought they used to be chicken coops at one time, but that's all that's going on with Heritage and Rec.
Very well. Ms. Queenan, capital improvement, economic development,
Missing NRPC.
missing NRPC?
Yeah,
That's
that-
all right,
that-
you always just throw that in.
It looks like I don't do anything.
Have at it.
All right, let's see. Let's go with let's start with SIP. We met on May 6th for the first time since town voting. We reconvened, we looked at our old spreadsheet where we left off. We know with the school not passing that now we need to look at the SIP again. The facilities committee obviously has a lot of work to do. We're not expecting a real number to go in here this year on the SIP. They need time to go through that process. Our next meeting was supposed to be June 3rd, which is still on the calendar, but it was moved to June 17th. So we will be meeting June 17th. And we will meet here at the town hall. We also had our elections, so Michael Croto is the chairman and Peter Polanski will
Yep.
be the vice chairman. All right. Let's see, NRPC, let's look at that first. Let's go in the order of the dates. All right, we had our annual 39th, well, the 39th
Kaplan.
meeting. We had our annual forum on, at LaBelle Winery. It was an interesting topic. And Kim, you were there as well? Yeah? The guest speakers were Robert Scott, Commissioner of New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, and, DES. We also had John, I hope I say his name right, Boisvert, CEO and Chief Engineer of Pennachuck Water. So we had the President of Pennachuck there. We had DES there speaking about water issues. We also had James Houle there, a professor, research scientist at UNH for stormwater. So the whole forum was about water access and water, getting good water to the public. It was really, I think, a 3 hours about, right? And they went over some of the financial options available to us. They're probably halfway through their money at this point, but at least they're showing us a way of where the supply is and how they're trying to move forward to get New Hampshire the water it needs. So that was informative. All right, the next executive committee meeting is in the calendar as May 15th, which is true, but they moved it to May 22nd. And the next quarterly commissioner meeting will be, the full commissioner is June 19th, 7 PM at Nashua. The last item I have is Economic Development Committee. We did get the email out finally to everybody who answered the survey. If they wanted to reach out and maybe be in a focus group with us, they left their information. So we have sent an email out to that group. We do have at least one coming to the next meeting that we know of. So the next meeting is Wednesday, May 29th, 6:30 PM at the Town Hall. That's what I have. All set with me.
Up next, we have Conservation and Emergency Management, Mr. Burnett.
So, no emergency management meetings that I'm aware of. I wasn't able to make the last conservation meeting. Steve filled in for me because I was on a plane. But just to reiterate, fishing derby is this weekend for the kids. I forget what time it starts, but I think it's like 9 or 10.
I think it's 8 to 11.
Is it 8 to 11? Okay, so 8 to 11. I did get an update from Vice Chair Brennan about the muster fields. They did have the stumping happen. I guess it was donated.
Yep.
And they're planning on doing some kind of conservation mix for grass and to fill in the stuff. Dara Pond Milfoil, they're hoping to get that started, treatment to start sometime in June and July.
Oh, good.
And then that's it for public. I have no other updates.
Up next, we have Budget and School Facilities. Budget Committee meets next Thursday. Last meeting, we discussed the schedule coming up, and we'll work on that as we're going along. And then the School Facilities meeting meets next Wednesday, and it was part of our annual whatever. And we're gonna start coming up with some kind of a mission that the committee wants to go forward with. That's about it on that.
May I add one more thing?
Yes,
I
absolutely.
spoke with Michael Croto about the planning board, if I was gonna sit in that night.
Mhm.
Looking at the agenda that night, he did not need me there, because the EPA item that was on our zoning ordinances was not gonna be looked at till May 16th. So they're having a special meeting anyway, so there was nothing for me to vote on.
Yep.
So I did not have to go because they had a quorum.
Very good. Thank you for being willing to go to
Yeah.
that, too. I know it was kind of short notice. So,
Two Brennies.
right, so that will do it for our public portion of this program. We do have items in non-public under RSA 91-A semicolon 3, 2B, the hiring of any person as a public employee. And under RSA 91-A semicolon 3, 2, I in parentheses, consideration of matters relating to the preparation for and the carrying out of emergency functions, including training to carry out such functions developed by a local or state safety officials that are directly intended to thwart a deliberate act that is intended to result in widespread or severe damage to property and widespread injury or loss of life. I don't ever remember that one before.
I used it once other.
And 91 dash A semicolon 3 comma 2 D in parentheses, the consideration of the acquisition, sale, or lease of real or personal property which, if discussed in public, would likely benefit a party or parties whose interests are adverse to those of the general community. Do we have a motion to go into non-public?
Make a motion to go in non-public for the RSA's mentioned.
All right, we have a motion from Mr. Gannon.
I will second that.
We have a second from Ms. Queenan. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 400. We are now going into non-public at 9:03 PM. Everyone have a wonderful night. Be safe. We will see you soon.